There is an ongoing and blatant issue to where there is a false perception of a particular group of people, particularly within the Western world. And due to this stereotypical point of view, I would say there's a confinement and there is limited capability to grow beyond that image. And as a result, when the system sees people growing beyond the image and the stereotype that has been placed in the media, that has been placed in the schools, in the statistics, showing that, you know, specific people of color are at the bottom. Should anybody oppose that stereotype, or should anybody try to grow and try to evolve, that person is immediately isolated and pointed out by every systematic procedure possible. It's almost like they raise a red flag due to the failure of the system to confine this particular individual to the role of low social income or low social class, or of low education. Since the westernized world has never had the opportunity to actually explore the colored people, that there unfortunately lies some room for misinterpretation and misunderstanding as to some of the procedures that people of color need to take in order to grant themselves the necessary experience, safety, and overall well-being for the lifestyle that needs to be lived within the westernized world. It makes no sense how a system can impose a law that classifies colored people as 3/5 of a human being, not even a full human being. It makes no sense how the system neglects that there was a specific point in time where they delegated the role of colored people to property, where they delegated the role beyond animalistic treatment. And despite all of this happening, they still expect colored people to remain complacent and to not possess any sort of concern or objection towards the systematic procedures being taken today that have clearly had a crippling effect on the livelihood of many colored people. And should the system see you talking about any of these particular procedures, like I mentioned, they will raise an immediate red flag to the point where they will label you as the offender, despite the fact that all you are doing is pointing out the data and the facts, which suggest that they are in no position to cater towards the success and the overall well-being and the health of a colored person. And this is the problem that you will find in the Western world, that they neglect to truly acknowledge the experience that colored people have to endure on a daily basis, that they neglect to actually study the impacts of racism that have been statistically and scientifically proven to induce stress and to hinder the livelihood of colored people. And instead of diving deeper into these subject matters, the Western world is quick to alienate the colored people and to throw them into supremacist incarnate institutions, to the point where they are expected to live up to the image based on the fear that the westernized world has of the colored person actually tapping into his own potential and realizing the gifts and the abilities that are integral to him, that perhaps the westernized world tries to bring or alienate or to cover up through stereotypes in the media, through placing illicit stores and illicit activities implied in the media directed towards the colored community, as if that is the only avenue made for people of color. And you will find that the lack of knowledge on colored people immediately confines that role to the point where when you try to diagnose a colored person, you are actually committing a fraudulent offense, given the fact that you do not have any biological or historical or experienced research to suggest that your diagnosis or your accusation is correct, because you have not actually undergone in your system the knowledge and the education related to the impacts of racism, related to the impacts of discrimination, related to the impacts of classifying an individual as less than a human being, and furthermore, you have not actually undergone the full analysis as to how a colored person is within their well-rounded right, role, responsibility, and due diligence to raise a concern which the medical system will call an illness or paranoia, despite the fact that all the colored person is doing is tracing the real core-rooted facts of history, which have proven that when a colored person is followed around, that colored person has been at risk of losing their rights due to systematic procedures which have occurred and inflicted and colonized the colored people. That when a colored person is within a environment where he has been isolated from his own people, that he is within his well-minded rights to raise a concern and to truly understand the history and even the pressing circumstances of how the westernized world approaches colored people who perhaps have tried to integrate into their societies. And the statistics have shown that amongst all of the highest class westernized communities, that colored people are always the least represented and often the first to be driven out, to which the system mistakes as a problem integral to the colored person, when this is nothing more than exposure of the system's inability to truly acknowledge the devastating impacts that their failure to accommodate for the simple human needs and boundaries and circumstances related to colored people is concerned has been failed to their own discretion. And what they try to do is they act out of denial, and they instead impose that failure on the colored person, despite the fact that the colored person has actually done nothing nothing to impose that label besides point out the reality of the situation being that colored people have lost their livelihood and continue to lose their livelihood due to the system, that colored people continue to face high levels of discrimination and procedures which have driven colored people to stray away from their communities, and there has been a evident lack of historical research to show that these white labeled conditions, or these white studied procedures have been effective towards black people. And as a matter of fact, if you do your research, you'll realize that these are the same procedures which have actually had made the colored people suffer at the consequence of their own livelihood. And it is due to this that it should be noted, the colored people are within their well-rounded heads to raise a concern in a society that took them here against their own will and has done nothing more than impose hostility and opposition and isolation, and driven them away with false promises of actually understanding the core roots of their problem. There is no school alive that teaches about the boundaries of racism. There is no school alive that teaches about the procedures that colored people would need to take in order to benefit and thrive from a well-rounding economy. These are all nothing but traps, political traps, set in place by the westernized world in an attempt to drive the colored people further away. And in their procedure to driving the colored people further away, you will find that they neglect themselves, void completely of responsibility, and due to their inner guilt, that which they know systemically and biologically lies within their culture and their communities to harass colored people, they try to alleviate themselves of that guilt by pressing the colored people with the same circumstances that they are afraid to address based on their responsibility.